The story of Wind Chill begins at Pennsylvania University, where we see a student named Rose. She needs to go home, so she is chatting with her boyfriend. She tells him that she will be taking the bus. Her boyfriend messages her, suggesting that she check the campus rideshare board. Perhaps another student is heading toward Delaware, where her home is, and can give her a ride. On campus, there's a board where students offer rides to help each other. When Rose checks, she finds that a student named Guy is traveling to Delaware. She contacts him, and he soon arrives with his car. They then set off together. During the journey, as they talk, Rose realizes that Guy knows a lot about her. He tells her that he is in her class. Rose is surprised because she has never noticed him before. Along the way, they stop at a gas station. Rose wants to use the restroom, but she has just applied nail polish on her feet. Guy carries her on his shoulders into the gas station. She goes inside, but when she tries to leave, the door locks on its own. She knocks loudly on the door and sees that Guy and the gas station employee are talking to each other, seemingly ignoring her. Eventually, the lock opens, and Rose comes out, furious at Guy. Guy is confused. He has no idea why she is yelling at him. Both he and the gas station employee are surprised by her behavior. Guy had also bought water from the gas station. Although Rose offers to split the cost, he refuses, saying, "I don't take money from my friends." They resume their journey, but suddenly, Guy turns the car onto a different road. Rose asks, "Why did you leave the highway?" He replies, "It's a shortcut." As they talk, Rose realizes that Guy has lied about living in Delaware. She confronts him, demanding an explanation. Just then, a car approaches from the front, seemingly about to crash into them. At the last moment, Guy swerves, but their car slides into the snow and gets stuck. The other car vanishes, leaving no tire tracks in the snow, something that shouldn't be possible. And now their car is stuck. Both of them step out of the car. By now, the other car has also left. Emily tries to call the police from her phone, but there is no network coverage. This means that both of them are now stranded here. Both of them are baffled. Rose gets back inside the car, as it's freezing outside and night has fallen. Guy knocks on the door, asking her to let him in, but she refuses, blaming him for their situation. Determined to find help, Guy decides to walk back to the gas station. Meanwhile, Rose turns on the radio and hears a news broadcast warning about a severe snowstorm expected that night, with temperatures dropping to -30°C, meaning the cold will become even more severe. As Rose sits anxiously inside the car, she suddenly sees a shadowy figure in front of her. She calls out, thinking it might be someone who lives nearby and could help. However, the figure doesn't respond and walks away. Rose steps out of the car, and just then, Guy arrives. He tells her, "I went to the gas station, but it was closed." Rose is shocked. That gas station is open 24/7, and it's far from here. You couldn't have gone there and come back so quickly. She doesn't believe him. Guy, shivering, gets inside the car and turns on the heater. Rose joins him and notices blood behind his ear. When she points it out, Guy replies, "I must have gotten hurt." As they talk, Rose confronts him. "Why did you lie? You don't live in Delaware." Guy admits, "You're right. I don't. I saw you texting your boyfriend in class and read your messages. I wanted to be your friend, so I posted on the ride board that I was going to Delaware just to spend 5 hours with you and get to know you." At first, Rose is angry, but she soon forgives him. Suddenly, the car heater shuts off. They step outside and discover that the fuel tank is leaking. Without fuel, they can't restart the car, or the heater, meaning they'll have to spend the freezing night inside. Later, Rose steps out to relieve herself and spots some priests in the distance. Alarmed, she calls Guy outside, but by the time he arrives, the priests have already walked away. Guy tells her, "Go back inside the car. I'll follow them." Rose returns to the car while Guy follows the priests and reaches a house where he sees many strange things inside. Meanwhile, a police officer passes by Rose's car. She steps out and calls to him, but he doesn't seem to hear her. She then places her hand on his shoulder to stop him, but as soon as she does, her glove catches fire. The officer turns around, revealing a demonic face. Terrified, Rose watches as he opens his mouth and a snake slithers out. She tries to run, but suddenly sees 2 boys lying on the ground, seemingly beaten badly. Overwhelmed, Rose faints. Guy returns and finds Rose unconscious. He wakes her up, and she, trembling with fear, tells him everything she saw. They quickly get back into the car. Soon after, another police officer, this time appearing normal, approaches their vehicle. He asks them to step out and then forcibly tries to make Rose get into his car. Realizing his intentions are not right, she resists, but he insists. At that moment, Guy attacks the officer from behind with an iron rod, injuring his face. Suddenly, a strange wave of energy spreads, and the next thing they know, they're back inside their own car. They struggle to understand what just happened, initially believing it was all a nightmare. However, when they see the iron rod still in Guy's hand, the same one he used to attack the police officer, they realize it is real. The intense cold has frozen the rod to his hand, and when he pulls it off, his hands get injured. Rose then notices the newspaper Guy had brought from the house where he followed the priests. The paper contains reports about accidents on this road, including mentions of a priest. It also states that a police officer was responsible for multiple deaths here. This means that all the people they encountered, the police officer, the priest, and others, weren't living beings, but spirits haunting this road for years. Exhausted, they fall asleep in the car. At 2:32 a.m., Rose has a terrifying vision. She sees the police officer who had approached their car earlier. In the vision, at this exact location, he forcibly removed a woman from her vehicle, assaulted her, and killed her. As Rose experiences this vision, her body starts shaking violently. Guy wakes up and tries to calm her down. She is deeply shaken. Suddenly, their car begins shaking aggressively. They panic, but after a few moments, everything goes still again. Meanwhile, Guy's condition worsens. He had been hiding a serious head injury. Rose finally realizes it. Guy admits that while heading toward the gas station, he felt severely wounded and decided to return. Worried about him, Rose notices a telephone pole nearby and climbs up to use the phone. She tries to make a call, but due to a very weak signal, the operator cannot hear her voice. She climbs down the pole, and just then, she sees the spirit of the same lady whom a police officer had assaulted and killed. Frightened, she quickly gets back in the car and sees that Guy is unconscious. She tried to revive him, but Guy has already died, leaving Rose deeply saddened. She takes Guy's body out of the car and then notices a vehicle approaching. At first, she thinks it's a police car, but it turns out to be a snowplow driver clearing the snow from the road. When Rose had climbed the telephone pole and made the call for help, it had gone to this snowplow driver, which is why he arrived there. They first placed Guy's body in his vehicle, and then Rose gets into her car to leave. The driver tells her that in 1950, there was a corrupt and psychotic police officer in this area who had killed many people on this road. He would deliberately bring his car in front of other vehicles, causing accidents that led to deaths. In 1953, he caused an accident involving two young men whose car fell into a gorge. However, since the officer was heavily drunk, he lost control of his own vehicle, which also fell into the gorge, resulting in his death. But even after his death, accidents continue to happen on this road every Christmas night. In 1961, frozen dead bodies of some priests were found at this very spot. As the driver is telling Rose this story, another car suddenly appears in front of them. To avoid the approaching vehicle, he swerves his car to the side, causing it to get stuck in the snow. The driver steps out and sees that the vehicle in front of him has fallen into the gorge and is engulfed in flames. In reality, this is the same incident that happened in 1953 when a police officer was killed. As the driver moves closer, he sees some priests. Suddenly, he witnesses the past event from 1953 when the police officer's accident occurred. The priests could have helped him, but knowing he was a sinful man, they removed the microphone from his car so he couldn't call for help, leading to his death. Later, his demonic spirit froze all the priests to death. As the driver moves forward, the spirit of the police officer emerges from the flames and grabs him, freezing him completely and killing him. Meanwhile, Rose arrives and witnesses everything. She rushes back to the truck and tries to start it, but it won't start. Just then, the police officer's spirit appears, intending to kill her. Before he can attack, the Holy Spirit of Guy appeared and strikes him with an iron rod. As the spirit is attacked, a wave of energy is released. Rose suddenly finds herself back in Guy's car. Morning arrives quickly, and she sees the guy's spirit outside. She realizes that Guy only wants to help her, so she follows its spirit. Guy's spirit leads her through the priest's house and to a gas station, where an ambulance arrives just in time, saving Rose's life. She now understands that Guy never meant to harm her. He loved her and only wanted to spend a few more hours with her. She has only one photo of Guy, taken on her phone, and as she looks at it, she cries deeply. The truth is, when the police officer's car crashed in 1953, his spirit got trapped in a time loop. Every year, on the same night, his spirit repeats the accident, dying again and again, while also killing others on this road, just as he killed Guy, the truck driver, and the priests in 1961. He would have killed Rose too, but the guy's spirit saved her. And that is the entire story of the film. Hope you liked it.